Alright, it's Thursday morning. We're back on the Yukon. Kind of dived right into this, and then I decided probably should pause and show y'all some things. So there's the wheels that we got on it we painted the other day. Still got to fix the hood. This is the hood I was talking about that I don't know what happened to it. I'm going to try to figure that out today why that side is up. I still can't explain what in the world happened to that. But anyway, from when we painted the door, if you remember, we didn't have the correct molding. So like I said, instead of buying moldings, we're just going to take the other ones off. So I figured I'd go over a video and a couple things that we're going to do today to clean this up. And then just wanted to show the wheels on the vehicle and how they turned out. So I've already ripped this side off, but I'm going to show you on the other side how you do it. Rip the front door off, got to the back. That's why this side is going to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the heat gun. We're just going to put a little bit of heat into the molding just to help soften the double-sided tape up behind it. We can get our fingers right underneath the edge. And on this one, I'm just going to gently pull it off without bending it. I don't want to bend the moldings because they're probably worth something on eBay, selling them on the store, or you know, in case you never want to damage your moldings pulling them off, because your luck normally is you'll get them all pulled off and you'll get to the last one to pull it off, and then somebody has painted the door and taped the molding, leaving a hard line back there, and then you have to put all the moldings back on, or you have to repaint a door. So never destroy your moldings taking them off in case they have to go back on. But this is the last one. All the other ones went smooth so far, so let's get this one ripped off. Just take your heat gun, get a little bit of heat in it. Let's get it warmed up. And when you're taking these off, you don't want to use anything that's going to damage your paint, scratch your paint. So if you can't get your fingers back there, you can pry gently with some piece of plastic or even fishing string. I started using fishing string on the other side and then realized that so far on these, they've just come right off with your hands. So I prefer to just try to get my fingers behind them and just get them to lift up a little. And if they will, then just pull them off with my fingers. My hand. Put a little bit of heat in them also makes them flexible so that they don't crack the paint in the molding in case you have to put it back on. Okay, so that one's a little stiff, so let me go grab something. So what I'm gonna use is some fishing line. I'm gonna just wrap it around my fingers. This actually hurts, actually sucks. Then get it behind here like this. And then just saw it back and forth. Ideally, you want to get it around the bottom one, but mine's having trouble. All right, now I can get my fingers behind it. So that loosened up enough. Cut enough where I can get my fingers back there. All right, so now just want to try to pull it off. Don't roll it. When you're trying to pull it, don't roll it, because again, you could crack your paint, stress your paint, and if you have to put these back on, you're gonna hate yourself for rolling it and damaging the paint. So try to keep this thing as straight as possible. Obviously, just pull it like a 45. Keep your hands back here behind this. That way you're not rolling the piece. Piece comes off. It's got a little bit of curve to it because we just rolled it, or pulled on it. But I'm gonna go immediately lay it on something flat so it can straighten right back out. All right, so that's that. So now all I want to do is pull it outside, pressure wash it to get all the dirt back here off of it. Get everything off the doors, all the doors rinsed off, because we're going to be doing some buffing on them this morning. That way you don't want dirt on there, because if it gets in your buffing pad, then it can scratch and put scratches all in it. So let's get this washed off. All right, to get the double-sided tape off, we're going to use a product called Eraser Wheel. You can get it at your local parts store, Napa, Advance, whatever. I buy mine at a paint store. This is what they look like when they're like used up. So it's an eraser wheel. It goes in your drill, has threads on it when you buy it. It's supposed to actually thread into a tool, but we use it into the drill. Sometimes I have to grind flat spots into the stud to keep it from spinning in your drill. If you have that problem, that's a little tip, is you can just flatten out the sides with a little flat wheel. This is what it looks like when it's wore down. I'm gonna try to use these up. This one's pretty round. It should be nice and round. When you're doing it, you have to try to keep it, put it in your drill. Let's see here. Take a drill, put it in your drill, try to keep it firm against the panel and not where it's bouncing off. If you let it slightly bounce off, then over time it turns into this mess. That's not a circle. So now what happens is every time we use this one, it's like continuously like jackhammering the side of the vehicle. But you can see this one's pretty messed up. So we actually save this one for really messed up situations that we get into sometimes. If we have to take double-sided tape out of molding or something that's really going to eat up the edge. If you look right there, see that? That's because we've used it on some messed up situation. But this one's pretty much destroyed. It's still usable for some stuff, but you want to try to avoid this. You want to kind of keep it where it's circle, which even this one you could tell is egg shaped. It's been messed up. It's not circle no more. And then this one you can see is, even that one's a little bit egg shaped. But sometimes it can be difficult. Just try your best to hold it on there as smooth as possible and not let it bounce around, and get this done. So you're just going to take it, put it on there, and you want it turning in the direction. You want it turning in the direction pushing towards the double-sided tape. So you don't want it like doing a burnout across the tape that direction. You want it actually pushing into the edge of the tape. So I'm not going to start here in the center of the tape. I'm going to start here at the edge of the tape so that we can roll it and push it off. So that's all you're going to do. And you can see how that starts to take it away. That takes the double-sided tape off without scratching your paint up. Let's get this door knocked out. Alright, so bracer wheel got all double-sided tape off. Now all I'm going to do is just take the air compressor and blow this off to get all this stuff off. If you don't have an air compressor at your house, obviously you can just use a rag and wipe it off. It's not a big deal. And I did blow all the water off before I got started because you don't want to be trying to use an eraser wheel on wet double-sided tape. So it never works that great. Let's get this blowed off and then we're going to get to buffing. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is come in here and take me some tape and put over top of this Yukon emblem. I don't want to accidentally hit the edge of this emblem when I'm buffing or anything and tear my pad or rip this off, and if this rips off then it's probably going to scratch the paint. So I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to put some tape over it. This is just going to help me stay off of it, and also it's not going to put wax all behind it. I'm going to do this the hard way, just like y'all would be doing at the house. I actually have sandpaper is 3000 Trizac, and normally what I would do in this step is take some 3000 and sand over it just to knock a little bit of grime off. But the chances of you getting your hands on 3000 is probably gonna be pretty slim to none. You're not gonna find it at like Advance, Napa, O'Reilly's, nothing like that. You'd have to find it at your parts store, and then the price that you're gonna have to pay to get just one or two to do the product, it's probably not gonna be worth it if they'll even sell you one or two. Sometimes they only sell the stuff in bulk. So I'm not going to do this on this door to show you how you be doing it at your house, and then I'll probably cheat and make life easier for me on the other doors and use my wet sand, my 3000 before I buff. So first we're going to use a wool pad. A wool pad looks like this. It has the wool all over it. This is the product that I'm using. Got it from the local paint store. There's the numbers, name, if you need to search it online or anything like that. But all it is a wool pad. You can get them at Harbor Freight, probably your local parts store, anywhere. So you're going to use with your wool pad some cut compound, just whatever cut compound. I was using Meguiar's. This is wax finishing, so this is not cut compound. I'm out of that. And the Meguiar's, but this is some stuff that we had picked up a while back I'm using today. But any cut compound for you will work. Just make sure it's like a actual cut compound and not a wax, because this step you're not using a wax, you're actually cutting the paint still. So take your wool pad, put it on there. Take your buffer. You want to start out at low speed. You definitely need one with multiple speed settings, and we just want to rub this in, get this on here, get this started like this, pat it in so it's not hopefully slinging all over the place. And you're just going to start on a low speed. You're going to keep it moving. You're not going to stay in one spot. I'm holding a little bit of an angle on it right now to just try to get where that edge was, where that molding was. You want to let it work. You don't want to go too fast. You want to let it build up a little bit of heat and actually do its thing. But you don't want to stay in one spot so long that you actually burn the paint, because you're actually putting heat in the paint in this process. So there's one spot. I'm gonna finish that up. All right, we're gonna come on here and with a clean rag, we're gonna wipe off our cut compound, what was left behind. And got it, wipe it off perfect. Get most of it off. All right, it's good enough for me. I can still see some of that edge. No, that's a scratch. I'm sorry, it's not the edge. That's a scratch over there. Anyway, all right, next step. Since this is a black, I'm gonna do a 3-step buff instead of just a 2-step. So I'm gonna use a white foam pad. That's what this one is from 3M. All this does is also cuts the paint some more, but it just cuts it very microscopic, small amount. So we're not gonna go to our polishing. We're gonna use our cut compound again on this step and white foam pad it. And I'm not a professional buffer, so when we get to the end, I'm gonna run some wax over it and a buff over it. But if you comment that I'm swirling the paint or whatever like that, hey, I already know it, because I do not professionally buff. I'm just showing you how to do it. If you want to improve your buffing skills, or learn how to wax and buff perfectly, you're gonna have to go watch another channel, because it ain't gonna be this channel. Take a cut compound again, put some on here. Same thing as last, just rub it in a little bit. Same thing, just keep it moving. Don't hold it in one spot so you burn the paint. And just go over all of that you buffed in the first step with this pad, and then we're gonna move on to the polishing step. And I'm gonna add a little bit more compound to that. It's a little dry, and then get after it. All right, so now that step's done. I'm gonna put that pad up. Same deal. Come in here, wipe off some of your cut compound if there's any left. That way you're not transferring into the next step. Now we're going to, on this one, polish. So this is actually going to be what you're used to as buffing. And I'm actually going to go ahead and do this whole door. to just get the shine in it, so it's not just right in the center, so it's already have it out. And this door is nice and glossy, and this door nice and faded, so we're gonna go ahead and put a buff on this one, and we're probably gonna buff that quarter panel later on this afternoon. But this one we're gonna polish all this out and polish the whole door. So in this step you're gonna be using a black foam pad. This is the one I use. It's another 3M. Pick it up at your local paint store. You can probably pick it up at Harbor Freight or even the parts store. Any foam pad that's made for polishing, it just needs to be a polishing foam pad. So the waffle print's what you want. You do not want the flat ones, because then they just they ride on top of it more instead of actually working. So you want the ones that's got foam, or the things, and don't get the cheap flat ones from like Harbor Freight. They're not going to do that great. If that's all you have in a pinch and that's all you can get your hands on, go for it if you're just doing that. But if you can get the ones with the waffle pattern, that's what you want. Alright, for polishing stuff, this is what I'm using. You can use any wax, but this is what I'm using. You can pick you up some wax at your local parts store, and it's not gonna be hard to find. Harbor Freight actually sells this stuff, so you can shoot on down to Harbor Freight and grab that stuff right up. Same thing, a little bit on there. Doesn't take a ton. It takes a little bit more to get started, get your pad loaded up with some wax in it, but once your pad's loaded up, it don't take a lot. So we're gonna rub it out to get it started. Come in here, the same thing, not too fast, not too slow. Let it build a little bit of heat up so it can work. Try to stay out of your edges. Just keep it moving. And that's pretty much that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish polishing out that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and polish the whole door, and then get back with y'all. Alright, so now that all that's waxed out, I have some spots that dried up on here, and got like this spot right here. It got dry and thick. So what I do before I wipe mine down in that situation is I spray some quick wax detailer on it. That just helps lube up the paint so you don't scratch it. And I just put that a little bit on it, so anything that's dried on there, it just kind of loosens it up. Helps loosen it up. And I'll go wipe it off. And I did go ahead and remove my tape from around my emblem so that I could get around it and inside of it and all that stuff. Since, not inside of it, but around it. Up closer on the final pass. I didn't want to put cut compound around it and then have to worry about getting it out. I just wanted to get it on the last pass with polish. Did you find it, Ed? Okay. Send it to me and I'm gonna run over there and grab that color for that. Okay, so we're just gonna keep wiping this down, get this one clean. Alright, so there you go. The buffing is done, or the polishing stuff is done. And that's what you're left with. So that's pretty good. Here's the new paint, which is dirty. I just wiped across it, but you can see how the two doors match now. They're both shiny. Before, that one was dull and this one's nice and shiny, so that's all I wanted to do. And then go ahead and get rid of the moldings while we were at it. So all the moldings are gone. As you can see, all the molding lines are gone. She looks good. So now all we got to do is repeat that on the other three doors. And on this door, let's see if we can see that sag. There's that sag right there across the top. So we're gonna wet sand that out, and then we're going to probably lightly wet sand this whole door maybe, and basically cut and buff this door, polish out that panel real fast, polish out that fender real fast, and then polish out the whole other driver's side. But I'm not going to show the other side until we're done because I went over all the steps in this one. All right, so there's one side done. We got the back door buffed out, and we got the front door buffed out. I just wiped the fender down. Like I said, once this car gets on the road, or SUV, whatever you want to call it, we don't wash our vehicles, so very rarely. So I'm not going to get carried away too crazy. This back door could still use one more buffing. It still has a little bit of dullness to it, but overall turned out really good, especially the debadge and the moldings. So we're going to move on to the driver's side, get that knocked out, and then pull this thing out, do a final wash, hit it with some tire shine, and be done with it. All right, so that's gonna be it for this. You probably did see, if you noticed in that time lapse, me buffing the glass. So you can actually just take your regular wax and your buffing pad, use your buffing pad, and I think you use the cut pad too to cut it a little bit, but I don't want to give you that advice because I'm not, it's not my area of expertise. I have done it on my own vehicles, but take your polishing pad just with your leftover wax and run over your windows, and it will get rid of all of them deep water spots that have been in there from water drying on there, all the hard spots, all that kind of stuff, and it'll really make them shine up. Excellent, and it'll help keep a little bit of water spots down on them too, where they're not quite as bad, because now there's a little wax over them. Might squeak in your sills a little, you put your windows up and down, but nothing major. So yeah, I'm just gonna wipe this down. I sprayed a little quick wax on it. We're gonna wipe this thing down and then get some tire shine on her, and we got some codes to scan and see what we got. I got an ABS and traction control. I think it is StabiliTrak or something I gotta scan, which is probably related to the ABS. But let's wipe this down and then let's check that out. All right, so Eddie just got back from the pick and pull. While he was out there, I had him grab this bracket right here, because if you look right here, it kind of looks like it has a curve in it. So again, I'm trying to figure out the hood being bent. I know the hood's bent right here, so I know that has to be straightened, but I'm trying to find out the source of the problem. If you look at this one on the driver's side, you can see how that's straight, okay? This area right here is nice and straight. So if you come over here and look at this hinge, the only thing I can see is that this one's bent. It's not straight. It looks close to straight. Camera actually don't show it that good, but anyway, it looks bent. So I had him go grab another part of the hinge. a different hinge out there from Pick and Pull, and we're gonna see if this one works, if this one fits on there. Looks a little different, so it might not, but I'm gonna see real fast.
Like a hammer or something and hit down on that right there, because when I was pushing down, that should help suck it down some.
Yeah. So what we're trying to do, put a 2x4 underneath the hood and try to bend the hood back straight. So we are gonna let Ed put some weight on it, and then I think I'm gonna shock the bracket right here. Actually, we'll get Mike's big ass in here and I'll shock the bracket right there. Yeah, put your knee right there, Mikey. Oh, you got all that weight? And straighten that hood. Yeah, right there on the edge. All right, let's see what we got. Before I get down. All right, so the difference between the Yukon hinges and the truck hinges, I guess, is that location. So it's supposed to be like that, but when you put it like that, it actually hits this cross member. When you put this cross member back in, that puts it too far forward. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. So when that's back right there, and then that goes down, that wants to hit that because that's too far forward. So the SUV hinges, they're actually back here more, and I think this is up some more. But what we're gonna do is, there's actually already that hole there, so I'm gonna just stick it through there, and then if I decide I want to order the correct hinge here off eBay or so, I can, but that'll definitely work for right now. All right, so we're gonna call that good enough. That's the difference in the bracket. So you can see that's the bracket to come off of it, and then that's the bracket that's on it. So it's just where the mount's located, and then you can see that we put the bolt hole here in the center bolt hole. So that'll be good enough for now. Then I ordered it. When this is off, you can actually see the bend in it if you look closely. So I think we're gonna call that good enough. That's that term, Mike, that we use in this business. We normally use it from about December the 30th to about January the 1st, like all year round. It's called good enough.
Good enough. Don't forget to give me some credit.
Yeah, Ed, like I said, Ed got it out the junkyard. He's the one that pulled the hinge.
Also suggested the bolt relocation too.
Yeah, Ed did suggest that. That was his idea, because he's
trying to drill holes. I said, we ain't got time for that today.
I have built one hell of a thinking cap into Ed's head. So got him trying to turn him into a little fabricator. But all I've done is, he don't really fabricate much, he just rigs every fucking thing. I've got him like a master rigging degree. So anyway, there you go. It's gonna be fixed for now. And that's what it looks like closed. So I'm happy with that. It's not perfect, but it saves me from doing any body work, any paint work, and the wife can just be satisfied with it. So it's got some dents right there, but she can live with that. I call that good enough. All right, so there's your totaled out, salvage title, total loss, demolished, IAA bought Yukon. I think it turned out pretty good. I don't know what y'all think. But yeah, this is the reason why I buy totals, man. I don't buy clean titles. Don't like clean titles. Don't want a clean title. Not gonna overpay for a clean title, ever. I think this thing turned out amazing. So we're about to wrap this thing up. Mirror, the glass should hopefully be here tomorrow. Besides that, Ed found at the junkyard some cup holders out of a Denali that went right in. He found the headlight switch that went right in, of course. And y'all seen that we just fixed the hood. So third row, all black leather. That's the old center thing. Had all the headphones with it for the overhead DVD player, sunroof. Yeah, I think I'll keep taking my totaled vehicles all day long, baby. So now, the moment everybody's been waiting for is, what did I pay for this thing? So let's go into the office and we will go over what I paid to buy and get myself in this Yukon. All right, so the moment I'm sure a lot of people are wondering is, what did I pay for this wrecked, totaled, salvage title Yukon, and how much money did I save compared to if I went and bought it? All right, so let's first start here. Of course, it is a 09 Yukon. Mileage is 156. So here's the KBB on it. This is a 09 Yukon, mileage 156. This is everything that's on my vehicle. I did just check for the recalls. There's only actually one on this particular vehicle, and I'm not worried about it at all. I could care less. So the private party, as we can see, is 9 to 11. And that's private party if you were to buy it right out from somebody privately. It's not a dealership. If you were to go to a dealership, it'd be even more. For some reason on here, it's not showing me on the computer the dealer pricing. Yeah, I don't see it. I know on my phone I can see the dealer pricing, but yeah, so average is about $10,320. Let's see what the trade-in is, what this thing's worth if we took it and just traded it in, out of curiosity. So trade-in, if it was clean title, these are clean title prices, I understand that. So even trade-in on average is $8,620 if it was clean title. So even if you go private party, and some people say, you know, that it knocks a couple thousand or $1,000 or something like that off the price. So even if it was $10,320, the value, let's say we subtract $2,000 for it being salvage. It actually, in the real world experience, it doesn't affect it at all. I can sell vehicles for literally blue book, but we'll just say it's worth $8,000, okay? Let's see what I paid for it. So there we go. There's the receipt for what I paid. Let's see here. 2009 GMC Yukon Black. There's my bid amount of what I bid on it, buyer fees and all that, and the fees bring me to a total of $4,792. That's what I paid at the auction. So $4,792, and it is supposedly worth private party about $10,000 on the lot. It's going to be more, but we'll go down to $8,000. So $4,700 wrecked. Let's say it's worth $8,000 private. So there's 50% off right there buying wrecked. But now you got to repair it, right? Okay. So what did I spend repairing it? So, pardon my chicken scratch, but we'll go down the list real fast. So for the Yukon, we paid $4,792. For the tow, we paid $125. For the airbags, we ended up paying $270. That one axle shaft that I bought and the mirror glass, I paid $118. The SRS, which is all the resets and everything, $125. The door that we got from Port City Auto Part, plus the fee they hit me with for bringing back the airbags that were incorrect, that ended up being roughly $200 in the door and with the fee. The wheels, remember we paid $400 for them. The mirror, because I did go over that I ordered the wrong mirror whenever I ordered the axle, so I had to order another mirror for $32. Then the alignment is actually only 70 something, but I went ahead and counted it down as $100 on the alignment. Miscellaneous, I threw $150 on miscellaneous. That brought me to $6,313. And then we actually had a bent rear axle. So the first time we took it to alignment, they actually called me and said that the axle was bent, and so I actually had to go purchase another axle that I never recorded. So we did ended up putting a whole axle in the vehicle and taking the axle shaft out and keeping it to turn around and sell back on eBay. So I paid $300 for an axle. That brings the total to $6,613. That's what we paid for was what I'm in the Yukon. So if you say $6,000 is what I'm in it, $6,613, and private party suggests it's $10,000. Even if you knock $2,000 off private party, bringing it down to $8,000, you're still $2,000 cheaper. And like I said, that's private party price. That's not dealer pricing. So you definitely, hands down, saved a couple $1,000s easily by going salvage, and you got a nice clean vehicle. All right, so we just picked this up from alignment, and everything's good. All we have left to do is change over the tire pressure sensors, get that taken care of, and then we will be solid. So the axle thing, I didn't record it or even tell y'all about none of that, because what happened was we took it to alignment originally, and then they called me and said, hey, the back axle is bent. I thought it was just a shaft. That's the gamble you take sometimes in this business. So we picked it up. I sourced a whole axle assembly real fast, and was able to get it chunked in yesterday and then brought it back to alignment today. So that's the only reason why I didn't cover that, but that was an extra cost. It was a pretty basic, straightforward swap out. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Let's keep this thing growing, and I'll keep sharing knowledge, information, how we do this. Enjoy.